My business just shut off overnight. I had no pipeline, hadn't closed a deal in a couple months. We were down to like a few $1,000s in our account.
Welcome to all of our communities, Sub 2, Gator, and Top Tier. We are here today with Trevor Oakey from Vulcan 7. And also our very own Andrew McGuire, the Golden Child.
You're the Golden Child.
That's right.
I did sit in the
Anybody
Golden Child
on
seat.
Pace's teams in the media department is the Golden Child.
Awesome. We are here today to talk about what Vulcan 7 is, what it can do for you, and then go through some stories and examples and just help you guys familiarize yourself with how this amazing software can help you in your business and help you grow and learn. So, Trevor, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Vulcan 7 is a lead gen platform that provides contact data in a full CRM and dialing system. So if you're a licensed agent, especially, it's very beneficial for you to be able to get contact information for your expired listings, for your canceled, for your withdrawals. But even if you're not licensed, you can still be able to get contact data for non-listed properties, pre-foreclosures. We can get you absentee owner information, as well as FSBOs and FURBOs, and it's all incorporated like I said, into a CRM and dialing system. It's very, very powerful. We've had great success both on the real estate agent side, traditional agents, but especially in investors as well. So
beneficial for anyone who's looking to build a portfolio, do transactions, all of those things within the Sub 2 and Gator communities, Top Tier as well.
Exactly.
Specifically, there are additional bonuses and really cool things that come along with it if you are a licensed agent.
Exactly. Yes. So there's more that you can be able to take advantage of, as a licensed agent. But if you're not licensed, we have plenty of data for you to be successful with. Absolutely.
So the link is vulcan7.com/PaceMorby.
Yep, with an extra slash at the end.
Okay,
yes.
With an extra slash at the end. And if they go there, they're going to put in their information, and essentially someone's going to outreach to them to create a call.
Yep. They'll just ask for some basic information. You'll receive a call probably within the next 10 minutes and speak to one of our reps. Give you your options.
Awesome. So if you want to know more, go to vulcan7.com/PaceMorby, extra slash, and book your call. That way you can find out all of the specific information that you have questions to. We invited Andrew here today because Andrew uses Vulcan 7 quite a bit. And he has a bit of a story on where he started, where he is now from using it, and all of those things. So we just wanted to hear from him and see where you started out and where you are now with the use of Vulcan 7 product.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really a lifeline for me. I got into being a real estate agent a couple of years ago. So I was still a fairly new agent trying to build my business in probably one of the toughest times there's ever been for real estate agents, which was starting of June of 2022, right? When interest rates just started ratcheting it up.
Yes.
And I've seen it. It was crazy from 22 to 23, the awards banquets at my brokerage, the room got cut in half.
Oh, wow.
And the energy was down. The awards were probably more than half. It was probably a fifth based off of production.
Wow.
So that's where I was started to use Vulcan because I was a new agent in a very competitive market here in Phoenix. And I was like, there's some big names out all over town that do hundreds of transactions. And I'm like, I'm coming over from corporate world. I have some imposter syndrome. I don't want to go out there and tell everybody I'm a real estate agent and knock on my friends' doors and send them letters and everything because they don't really believe me yet. They
and
know
your
that
corporate world had nothing to do with real estate.
Nothing.
Okay.
I was in tech.
So this is like
I was
new
doing
world.
tech sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, but I, had a couple bad bosses that made me think about, I'm probably not in the right place right now. So what do most people do when they're trying to venture from being in corporate world to being an entrepreneur? I think a lot of people get their real estate license and are like, I can make some, and they think it's easy money, right? They're like, I'm going to become an agent. I realized right when I started, it was not easy money at all. We're in a big city with a lot of dominant agents that kill it out there, who have big teams that are just sharks and their names everywhere. They're on billboards.
Been doing it forever.
Yeah. Building their business for 30 years and 20 years, many of them. And I was trying to just get by, honestly, coming in. So I wasn't really seeing a lot of success out of the gate doing that. But so what did I research to how do I start competing with these people? And almost what all of the people said to break into an industry was call and canceled expired listings.
Oh, wow.
Get the failed listings in your city, and there's a ton, thankfully, here in Phoenix. There's probably 30 to 40 every single day in our town. And I discovered somebody online that like taught me about calling on canceled expireds, and these all listing bases. Just become a listing agent. Call them, tell them their old agent stinks and you're better. Even in a high interest market, that you're gonna sprinkle some magic fairy dust on these listings, and you're gonna get them to sell even without lowering their price. Magic, right?
Yeah.
But what I realized, that was very hard. Now, a couple of the reasons were because I would call these canceled expired. I quickly realized that there was 30 other agents, and some of them were sharks who had been doing this 10 years I was competing against, and I was brand new, barely knew my script, didn't have a lot of success to show for it. But the other was interest rates were going up and up and up. So even if I got a listing trying to sell it, a lot of them I would get. And so I saw a little success just because I dedicated so much time to it and started to learn my script. And, I would probably get a listing every other month or so and close. So again, I wasn't thriving, but I was enough to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And I was doing all right. About the beginning of 2023, the back half of 2022, I was calling canceled expireds as a traditional agent. 2023 beginning is when I discovered Sub2, and it was just by chance. It was one of my buyers. It was hilarious how this happened. I was desperate for business, right? I never had the conversation up front with this guy. Are you pre-qualified? And we saw like 13 houses. I would meet him like every day. I love you, Roberto. He's one of my best clients today. We do a lot of business. But we did about 13 showings. And then he's like, hey, will you call the seller and see if they'll do seller finance? And I'm like, why? What do you mean? He's like, well, I'm not really qualified, I had something that happened with my credit a couple years ago where I can't do that. And I'm like, I have no idea what seller finance is, but I really need a paycheck. So
that's awesome.
I'm going to call the listing agent and see if it's something. And they were like, yeah, it's been on market forever. They're open to it. They're an investor too.
So everything just fell in place perfectly.
Well, not perfectly. We didn't close that deal.
Oh, okay.
But it was enough that they were open to it, to me to be like, this is something I need to pay attention to. And that's when I discovered Sub2.
Gotcha.
And started watching Pace's videos and YouTube and discovered, and just kind of binged on it like everybody does, right? And then I decided to make the investment. I was like, because that client wants it and the seller was open to it, this is something that could turn deals where there are no deals for traditional lens.
Heck yeah.
So I got into Sub2. I didn't do anything with it for probably like 6 months. And this is probably about this time last year in 2023. And then rates again started going, and we're about this time of year. So all our snowbird, we call them here in Arizona, that people from Washington and Canada and Illinois go away. So as an agent, it's a really hard time because interest rates were going up.
Yep.
And we were going into our back half of the year here, which is brutal as an agent, especially starting off. And we had bills to pay. Me and my family just paid off a HELOC because I was having a few deals close at the beginning of the year. I was like, let's just pay this thing off and close it out. Left ourselves with no savings, getting a little cocky,
Yeah, it happens.
And then the summer of 23 came, and just my business just shut off overnight. I had no pipeline, hadn't closed a deal in a couple months. We were down to like a few $1,000s in our account, and our monthly expenditures were like 7, 8, at the time between mortgage and everything. And I'm like, literally, we're gonna have to go borrow money or stop missing payments. So that's when I was like, I gotta actually start what I'm using and subject to. And I'm going to do the same thing I'm doing. I'm going to call canceled expired listings for a couple hours every morning. But instead of having the traditional discussion, I'm going to bring creative, and I'm going to be one of those 30 people are calling, but I'm going to be the one that's going to bring in a creative solution, and they're all going to be calling for listings. So it wasn't easy. Like, it probably took me 3 or 4 months to really get going of calling every single day. Didn't have one deal because I think there was still that whole like elephant mindset of like, I hadn't seen a creative deal beginning to end yet, and I didn't know if it could actually happen. I didn't know if it worked. I didn't have proof. I had no deals of my own, but I was like, I have to make it work. And I actually started looking for jobs. I was like starting to crawl back to the corporate world because things were so dry, and I was like, I'm a failure as an agent. I'm going to have to crawl back to corporate America. But I was like thinking in my mind, who do I text first? And be like, because I didn't want to reach out to my friends, even though maybe they would probably take me back. It was just like I'd been promoting myself as an agent, as a real estate person, and basically I'd have to go back as a failure, and it would be too much on my ego. So I remembered this customer of mine who was like, if you ever need a job, if you ever need work, look me up. So I texted him first, and I did send that text, and he was like, sure, like I'll throw your name out there. Never got back to me. But luckily, right about that time, that was October of last year, I got my first deal. And then a week later, I got a second deal. And then a week after that, I got a third deal. I met Pace Morby because he bought one of my deals. And essentially after that, I started doing calls for the community every Saturday, which I still do now, but I haven't looked back. You know,
you started to get that evidence that, like,
dude,
hey,
I had
this
the
really
evidence,
does work.
and I was the only one doing what I was doing against all the agents. And I ended up closing out that year. I think we got our first deal at the end of October. We ended up closing that year with like 6 deals in a row. Jeez. And now we've done closed 22 so far this year. We're on pay, like we've got like 6 under escrow. So I'm trying to get 30 the first half of this year, and sharing the love with others, trying to coach it because I know it still works, even though it's not awesome. Easy. It really comes down to getting really good at your script, but just the using Vulcan, the software, which is an absolute sniper rifle. The data is so good that hit that first cell phone the first time, paired with confidence and having a good script and coming with creative solution.
Yeah.
So I haven't looked back and actually started buying properties myself now. So going from just trying to survive to buying 4 properties the last month or so. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's amazing.